Hi everyone. In one of my previous videos, I showed you how to extract the current weather data from Open Weather Map API using Python on AWS EC2. In that particular video, I showed how you can extract the current weather data for one city. Okay, and then in another video, I showed you how you can then use Airflow to orchestrate and automate that process, wherein we use Python to extract the current weather data for one city. We transformed it and then we loaded it on our Amazon S3 bucket. In this case, we used Apache Airflow that is running on our Amazon EC2 instance. Okay, I'll put the link to these two videos in the description below. Okay, however, in today's video, what we want to do is to also extract weather data from Open Weather Map API. However, in this case, we want to extract for multiple cities. Okay, we want to extract from multiple cities, and then we will transform, load to Amazon S3 bucket, and thereafter we will send out a Slack notification. If you remember, in one of my previous video, I had showed you how you can send out an email notification. In this particular video, we moved data from Amazon S3 buckets, we loaded it into Snowflake. After that is done, we triggered an email notification to our stakeholders. Okay, however, in today's video, what we want to do is to send out a Slack notification whenever the Amazon S3 bucket has been loaded with the transformed data. Okay, if you also want, one thing you can also do is maybe you can use a sensor, okay, that will check the file before you send out the notification. But in this video, we're not going to use the sensor. Okay, however, I've used the key S3 key sensor before in this particular video, so you can learn that from this video. I will also put the link to this video in the description below. Okay, so in today's video, we want to learn how to build and automate a Python ETL pipeline with Slack notification using Apache Airflow that is running in an EC2 instance to orchestrate and schedule this process. And this is how our DAG is going to look like. You can see this is one task. This task is helping to extract and transform weather data, okay, connecting to the weather map API and transforming the data, okay, and then it goes into this particular task that helps to load the Amazon S3 bucket with the resulting file from this particular task. Then after we got the data in our S3 bucket, then we will trigger a Slack notification. These are the things we are going to be doing today, guys. This is going to be interesting and awesome. Let's get going, guys. All right, so the first thing we are going to be doing right now is to go on openweathermap.org. If you have not watched my previous video, which I'm showing right here, on how you can extract Open Weather Map from Open Weather Map API, you can go in and check this video. Okay, however, I will do some explanation right here also for you to understand. So what you need to first of all do is to go to this website and sign up. Okay, sign up on openweathermapapi.org. When you sign up, and then it's going to send you an email for you to validate that email. When you validate the email, thereafter it's going to send you another email where you're going to have your API key. Okay, and then the API key, it will take maybe about 2 hours or so for that, maybe 1 to 2 hours for that API to be activated. Okay, it is after it is activated, then you can use the API. Okay, so just go to this website and go and and then sign up, get your API key. Okay, so that is the first step for you to be able to execute this project. You need that API key. Take for example, in my own case, I have my API key already right here. If you come to your profile and you click this and you come to my API keys, if you look at mine, I have this right here. These other APIs, I've deactivated these ones. I can delete them because I'm not using them right now. Even the one I'm going to use in this video, I am going to deactivate it and delete it after this video. If you want to generate a new API key, just come right here and type a name for your API key and then click generate, and then it's going to generate an API key for you. Okay, and that is what I have done for this one. I hope you guys are getting this right now. Okay, very good, guys. Like I said, the first step is getting your API key. Okay, and I'm sure with that explanation you shouldn't have any problem getting that. If you're having any issue, just go to my previous video. I'll put the link in the description where I took time also to explain all of that. You can get that from this video, also from this video. Okay, now the next thing we would like to do right now is to create our EC2 instance. If you don't have an account on aws.com, I encourage you to go and sign up, because that is, you need to sign up before you can be able to create EC2 instance. Okay, and it's going to ask for your debit or your credit card. Okay, now in this case, now I go to EC2, so you can type in EC2 right here, and then you click that. And I've showed you severally also how you can create an EC2 instance if you have been watching my video. If you don't know, I still encourage you, just come back to this particular video. I've showed that to you guys several times. Okay, even in this particular video where we SSH remotely into our AWS EC2. Okay, now in this case we want to launch an EC2 instance, so I will click this launch instance. Okay, and then launch instance. Now we want to give our EC2 instance a name. I will give it airflow_slack. Okay, and then the next thing, I will come here and I will select Ubuntu as my Amazon machine image. Okay, and then the next thing is I want to select which instance type. Okay, so you can see it's on t2.micro, which is a free tier eligible right here, eligibility right here. But then to run Airflow, you cannot use this micro. It's going to be too small, because as you can see, the RAM is 1 GB. I've also mentioned that in my previous video. So you can use t2.small or t2.medium. I like to use t2.medium. I'll click that. That is going to cost some money, but it's very minimal. As you can see, the pricing right here, it's very minimal. In as much as you don't turn on your EC2 for a long time when you are not using it. This has 4 GB of memory and 2 virtual CPUs. Okay, and then we'll come to key pair. So if you don't have a key pair already, so you can create a new one. Okay, and I've also explained that in my previous videos, those videos I was just showing you. Okay, but in mine I already have a key pair which I've created already. I will select that. Okay, and then I'll come to my network settings. I will be in create security group, and then I will check these two right here. Okay, and then that should be it for now. Then I will do launch instance. Okay, now as you can see that we have launched an EC2 instance wherein we are going to be installing our Airflow and building our app. Okay, building our workflow right here. So I'll come to instances. You can see this is the one that we just provisioned right here. So I can refresh. You can see it says it is running already. Okay, now the first thing I would like to do is to update the security group first of all. So I will check this. Now I will go to this tab, security, and then I'll click these security groups. Okay, what am I trying to do right here? Because Airflow is going to be running on port 8080, so we need to update our inbound rules. Okay, so I'll click edit inbound rules. As you can see, what we have right here is HTTPS 443 SSH22. That means you can SSH into this HTTP 80, right? But I want to create a role for Airflow, so I will write I'll say add rule, custom TCP. Then I'll come right here, I'll type 8080. That is the port that Airflow is going to be running, okay? And then I can come right here and say anywhere IPv4, okay? You could also select my IP. So I will select this and then I'll do save rules, okay? Very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this right here, okay? Now let me go back to my EC2. You can see right here in mine, I have only one. I have one running, which is what is running right now. But I have a total of 3 instances, right? The only one running, this one. Okay. Now you can see that this still says initializing, but that's fine. But since it's already running, okay. If you want to refresh, you can refresh and see what's going on. It's still initializing. That's fine. Okay, but it's running already. So check this. Check your EC2. When you check that, what I need you to then do now is to click connect, because what we want to do right now is we want to start installing the dependencies, the different things, the different libraries that we need to get this project going. Okay, make sure you are in this tab, EC2 instance connect. I'll click connect. Okay, it's going to take me to a terminal where we'll start installing the dependencies. Now you can see now we are in Ubuntu and this is our IP right here. Okay, so now let us first of all update this EC2. I'll be doing some copy and pasting right here. Sudo apt updates. We're going to update that. For those of you that have been watching my Airflow series, now you should have some confidence in installing these dependencies. Okay, so that has finished running. Okay, very good. Now let us do a sudo apt install python 3-pip. Let us install pip, which is Python package manager. So I will do yes. Okay, so we are installing pip. So now after installing pip, we would like to install virtual environment. Okay, let this finish running. It's almost done. Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'll click this and then I'll do enter. Okay, very good. That is done. And then the next thing right now is we want to install virtual environment. Okay, we will do enter, and that you want to continue. I'll say yes, continue, and put Y and then enter. Now that okay, then you come here, click that and just do enter. Press enter. Okay, very good. Now we have installed virtual environment. Okay, so now the next thing we would like to do is to create a virtual environment for this project. Okay, so if I right click and then paste it, you can see I have Python 3. I have Python 3-m venv, and then this is the virtual environment I'm creating, airflow_slack_ venv. Okay, that's my virtual environment. I will press enter. Okay, very good. That has created the virtual environment. We can then activate this virtual environment with this command. Take note also, I will give you this command in the description. Okay, so that you know you don't have to be typing, you can just copy and paste it. So source airflow_slack_venv, that's our virtual environment, /bin/activate. So you can see now we are in our virtual environment. Very good. Now that we are in our virtual environment, first thing I would like to install is going to be our Apache Airflow. So let us install Apache Airflow in our EC2 instance. You can see sudo pip install Apache Airflow. I will say enter, and that is going to install. Okay, that is installing right now. Let's give it some few seconds. Okay, it's almost done. Very good. It has finished installation. Very good, guys. Now the next thing we are going to install, because we are going to be using pandas in this project, so we are going to install pandas. Sudo pip install pandas. I'll install pandas right away. That is installing right now. Okay, let's give it a few more seconds to complete installation. Oh, very good. It has finished installation. Now the next thing we would like to install will be a Slack provider. As I mentioned in this video right here, that we're going to be sending out a Slack notification, right? Since we're going to be sending a Slack notification, we need an operator for that, okay? And for us to be able to get that, it's in the airflow provider, okay? And that's why we're going to be installing Apache Airflow Providers, okay, for Slack. So I will click enter, and that will install all of that for us. Let's give it a few seconds for it to complete installation. And then after this finish installation, we are going to open our Visual Studio Code to connect to our EC2 instance so that we can start developing from there. Okay, this is almost done. Awesome, guys, this is done. Very good. If you're able to get it up to this place, congratulations, guys. Okay, now the next thing I would like to do now is to open my Visual Studio Code and then connect to my EC2. Okay, so I have my Visual Studio Code right here, and I have showed you guys previously how you can connect your Visual Studio Code to your EC2 instance. Okay, if you go to this video where I showed how to remotely SSH or connect Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2, I highly encourage you, if you don't know how to do it, to watch this video. This is where you are going to download the your Visual Studio Code and then do the configuration. Okay, I encourage you, if you don't know how to yet, just watch this video so you can do that. Okay, but then what I'm going to be doing right here now is that if I want to connect, I will put my my key value pairs right here to connect. It's going to be in my config file. Like I said, go through that video I just showed for you to be able to get that. Go through that video I just showed for you to be able to understand how to do those connections. Okay, now in this case I will have host. What is my host? That is my EC2 instance name. If I come right here, you can see my EC2 instance name, airflow_slack. Okay, that is my EC2 instance name. And then what is my host name right here? Okay, what is the host name? It's going to be the IP. How do we get that? Check this and then come to public IPv4 address, copy this and then paste it right here. Okay, and then what is the user? Remember, it is Ubuntu. That is our user. Remember when we were creating the EC2 instance, okay, when we were selecting the Amazon machine image, remember it was Ubuntu, so that's the user. Okay, and also you could also get that even from here if you check this. Okay, and then remember when we came to even connect, you can see the customer name is Ubuntu. You can see right there. Okay, very good. And then what's the next thing? The next thing is your .pem file. That's your key pair that when you created that key pair, remember you downloaded a .pem file. Okay, and that is this file right here. Mine is in my downloads folder, so you need to put the complete path, the absolute path of that. If you have not watched my previous videos where I explain all these things, please, I encourage you, go and do that right now. Go and watch this video. Okay, it's very, very important. Okay, now I will save this. When I save it, then I can come right here and click. If I click, it's going to ask me connect to hosts. I'll click connect to host, and you can see right here airflow-slack. That is the name of my host right here, of my EC2. So I'll come right here, I'll say airflow-slack, and then now it's trying to connect. Okay, and then it's asking to continue. Now you can see it has connected to my EC2 instance. You can see SSH-airflow-slack. Congratulations, guys. Now let us open our folder in our EC2 instance in our machine, home Ubuntu. I will say okay. Okay. So we'll let that populate. Very good. You can see now this is what we have in our EC2 instance. Remember that we created a virtual environment airflow_slack _venv. You can see that. So now we are in our EC2 instance. You can also see right here SSH-airflow-slack. Very good, guys. Now what I would like us to do first of all is that let us go and start our Airflow server first. Okay, let us first of all start that. You can see right here we don't have any Airflow folder right here yet. Okay, but by the time we initialize our Airflow server, then you're gonna see the Airflow folder and the config files all right here. Okay, now let's go back to our terminal that we have right here. Remember, make sure you are in your virtual environment, and then now we can say Airflow standalone. Okay, click enter. That is going to initialize all the different components of Airflow for us. Okay, let's give that few seconds. While that is going on, what we can also do is that, well, yeah, let's just stay right here first. You can see that Airflow, he said Airflow is ready. He said login with username admin and the password. This is our password. So take note, you can copy this somewhere. This is your admin, use your username, and this is your password. Okay, very good, guys. Now what we can then do is come back to your EC2 instance, check this, and then come to this public IPv4. You can just copy this, okay, and then you can come right here and just put colon and just do 8080 and then do enter. You can see now it comes right here to Airflow. If you don't want to do that, you can also just come right here, public IPv4, just select your IP address right here. Instead of this, you can also just use this. Come right here, paste this here, and then put colon 8080, press enter. You can see we are still at that spot. Okay, now let us go back. Remember that it created admin, the username for us, and also the password. So this is our username admin, this is our password. I will copy my password. I'll come right here and I'll say admin, and then I'll put my password right here and I'll say sign in. Very good, guys. If you are able to get to this spot right here, congratulations, guys. You can see now we have our Airflow. You can see the Airflow UI. It has 46 DAGs. Okay, however, I want us to do something right here. Let us go to our Visual Studio Code. You can see now we have the Airflow folder, okay, that has been created just because we have we have initiated all those components of the Airflow. Okay, so if you open this and then you go to config, now let us look for load examples. This is load examples. You can see it says whether to load the DAG examples that ship with Airflow. Okay, so what we are trying to do right here is that if you look at what we have here, we have the different examples that comes with Airflow when we initiated it. But let's say you don't want to be seeing that, you want to see only your own DAG. So what you can just do right here is just put in false. So basically you don't want to see those examples. Save it, make sure you save it, okay, and then when you save, come back to this place. If you refresh, you will see that it's not going to, you are still going to be seeing those 46. Okay, so what you can just do first of all is go back to your connect right here to your terminal and kill this session, kill the server, and then restart. Okay, so that your update in the config file can propagate through. How do you kill it? You say Ctrl+C, Just press Ctrl C. It's going to kill that. Very good. You see now we have killed it. And then let us start all over again. Let us restart the server. Okay. So let us go to Airflow standalone and then just press enter. We are restarting that. Okay. It's going to reinitialize. Okay. Give it a few seconds. Okay, very good. Now it has reinitialized. Remember, it's going to be the same password. Now come back to your UI and just refresh. Very good, guys. You can see now we don't have any DAG. Those example DAGs, they are gone, right? Because we said false. Now, the next thing that we have left, the next thing that we have right now that we need to start doing right now is to start developing our DAG. Right now we don't have any DAG right here. So now let us now start creating our DAG. Okay, now the first thing you want to do right here is come to this Airflow. Where do you want your DAG to be? We want our DAG to be in this Airflow. And if you come to our config again, let me take you to this place, this DAGs folder. It says the folder where your Airflow pipelines live. So in our case, this is the path that comes with this Airflow when we install this. So we want to use the same path. If you decide to change this path, then if you decide to change the path where your pipeline or your DAG is, then you have to update this path. Okay, but in our case, we are going to create Airflow DAGs. We already have Airflow, then we'll just create DAGs. Remember, we are right here, you are in our home directory, home Ubuntu, and there is already Airflow folder. Okay, so inside this Airflow folder, let us create another folder called DAGs. You see DAGs, very good. Now inside these DAGs, we want to then create our DAG. Do you understand that right now? So I will right click and then I'll do new file. Then I'll say etl.py. So that is going to be my DAG name. I will say enter. You can see right here now. What that means now is that now I have my DAG right here, because my DAG is going to be inside this Airflow DAGs folder. So that means when your Airflow wants to run, when it wants to run the DAG, it's going to go check this path, okay, and the .py file that it sees is what it is going to run, because it's going to say, oh, this is my DAG, because why? It is inside this folder. Very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this. Okay, now let us now start creating our DAG. The first thing we would like to do is to make some imports. Okay, I'll do some copy and paste right here. So right here I'm saying from Airflow import DAG. Okay, I'm importing DAG, and also from datetime I'm importing time delta and date time. Okay, now the next thing that I'm also going to do is some default args, which I am going to copy. For those of you that have watched my previous video, this should be pretty easy for you guys now. Okay, so default args. Okay, I'm saying owner is Airflow. You can put whatever you like. Depends on past. We can say that no, don't depend on past. Start date, we are putting this as our start date. Okay, email, you can put your email here. Email on failure, so do we want this to email us on fail or whenever the pipeline fails? So I put it as false. Do you want it to email you whenever there is a retry? I put it as false. How many retries do we want? I put it as 2. Retry delay, okay, what that means is that if you have a pipeline failure and you retry once, before it retries the second time, it's going to wait for 2 minutes. In your own case, you can decide to put 1 minute. You can decide to put 3 minutes, whatever minutes that you prefer. Okay, so these are default args. Now the next thing now is for us to instantiate our DAG. Remember that we have imported DAG right here. Okay, so now the first thing we are going to do right here is that I'm going to say with DAG, I'll give my DAG an ID. I call it weather DAG. Okay, take note, I give it a DAG ID. I call it weather DAG, and this DAG ID needs to be unique across your Airflow. Okay, across your Airflow instance. Okay, So that means that two DAGs cannot have the same DAG ID or DAG name. Okay. Now this default args, I'm passing this dictionary default args to it, and then schedule interval, I'm saying that it is daily. You can use cron expression right here, or you can use the type of expression that, you know, just like this one I'm having right here at daily. You can also go through Airflow documentation and see what other formats that Airflow has as scheduling schedule interval. Okay, catch up, I'm going to put false right here, and I've explained what this is also in my previous video. So I'll put as DAG. Okay, so I can then say, let me put pass right here, and let us save. As a matter of fact, let us take out this pass and let us build our first task. Okay, let us build our first task. I'm going to copy and paste this right here. What is going to be our first task? Our first task is going to be to connect to the weather map API. Okay, we are going to be using Python operator to do that, which I've also explained in previous video. Okay, but first we need to import our Python operator. Okay, I'll come right here and I'll import our Python operator, and then I'll give it a task ID. I'm calling it TSK, which is task extract transform weather data. You also need to give it a variable name, which is this right here. This is the variable name. And then there's something we call Python callable for this Python operator. And this Python callable is the function which you have created for a Python function which you have created, which you are going to call for this particular task to run. Okay, now we need to create this function. Okay, now first of all, what we need to do right now is, for those of you that have not created your weather map API account, I encourage you right now, go and do that, because now we need the API key. And remember, I told you that when you are just creating this for the first time, your API key will need about, I think, 1 or 2 hours or so for it to be activated. Okay, so now in my own case, mine is already activated. It's going to be activated automatically, okay, by the weather map folks. Okay, so now I'm going to copy mine. This is mine. Okay, and if you don't know how to get yours, just come to your profile right here and click my API keys, and then it's going to bring you right here. So this is mine. Okay, now what I'm going to do right here is I am going to copy my API key. I'm going to put it in a variable right here. So I call it API key. Yeah, take note that usually in actual production setting, you are not going to expose your API key right here. Take, for example, in one of my previous video that I've showed that to you. I think it was probably this one that I used a config file to house the API key, and that's what you should be also doing in production. Okay, you have your config file. Okay, or you can create a config file in a database. Okay, where you are going to be storing your credentials. Okay, but in this case, I will just leave it this way for simplicity. So this is my API key. Okay, now if that is my API key right there, take note, we want to create a function, right? You want to create this function ETL weather data. And what I am going to do, right, I'm going to do a copy and paste, and I will explain what is going on for you guys quickly. Okay, so let us have this, do a copy and paste right there. I will also put all this in my GitHub for you to get all this code from. Okay, so now I'm creating this function. Okay, now I'm instantiating an empty data frame right here, because what we want to do is we want to get the current weather data for different cities. Okay, so we are doing for Portland, Seattle, Houston, Lagos, London, Mumbai, Beijing. Okay, so we want to look at these different cities. So I put them in a list. I call it names of city. Okay, so what we are going to be doing is that for each data frame that we get for each of these cities, the current weather data for each of these cities, we are going to be appending them to this data frame. Okay, so that we can have a list of the different cities current weather data in one data frame at the end of the day. Okay, so that means if you want to do this for say 100 cities, just put those cities right there. Okay, and then you append those data frame, and eventually you can save it as CSV file or whatever format that you want. Okay, now one thing also I'll quickly explain also in terms of getting this data for this weather map API. I've showed it in my previous video, but I think I should also still show it to you here for those of you that are new on my Airflow series. Is this. So if you come to this right here, if you come right here, how do we get access to that API itself? How does it look? How does the data looks? If you come to API, I'll click API. Okay, and then I will scroll down to current weather data. Then I'll click API doc, do that, and then it's going to bring it right here. So if you navigate down, let's navigate down, and then you would come to this place, API call. Okay, so this particular one right here where you have city and API app ID, then API key. So you can copy this. Let's copy this. Okay, and let's paste it inside this browser. Okay, so if you paste it inside this browser, let's say for example we want to get Seattle, so just delete that and type Seattle. You can see that, and then you have your API key. What is my own API key? This is my API key. I will copy and then I'll bring it right here. App ID equals API key. I'll paste and then I'll click enter. Very good. You can see, guys, how the data is. This is exactly how the data is. So that means the data that we are going to be getting from here, okay, this is how it is right here. You have your coordinates, which is longitude and latitude. So you have this as a key weather, as ID 500 main, what's happening right now in Seattle, rain. Description is light rain. Okay, what is the temperature currently? 289 Kelvin. It feels like 288.83 Kelvin. What is the minimum temperature? This is this. Maximum temperature, this is this. You can see this is the name of the city, Seattle. You can see this is the country, US. Sunrise, when is sun going to rise? You can see the time right here. Sunset, you can see the time right here. I've explained to you in my previous video how you convert this to your local time. Okay, how you convert this to your local time, I have explained this, right? So in my previous video, if you go through this video, you will see that. However, we are also still going to be seeing that in my code also. Right here, you also see it in the code. Okay, now that you understand this, now one other thing I want you to understand is, if you look at this URL, we can refer this to as the base URL, api.openweathermap.org. This is the base URL. Okay, and these are endpoints. Okay, this is endpoint right here, in which case you just need to pass the city name right here and also pass the API key right here. And that is what we are going to be doing right here in this our Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is the base URL. I call it base URL. This is the names of the city. So what I am doing right here is I am iterating through these names of city. So for city in names of city, right? So that means the first one is I'm going to be grabbing Portland. So if I grab Portland, this is going to be my endpoint. Remember, I was just showing you that right here, right? So that means that I want to join this endpoint to this base URL so that I can have a complete URL or a full URL. Okay, so that is why I have this right here plus city. So that's the city I'm going to be getting, which is Portland first, and then this and app ID, then my app API key. And we already know that I have my API key right here. Okay, So now this is going to be my endpoint. Then my full URL is going to be base URL. We know that this is my base URL, okay, plus this endpoint, okay. So that means for each city that I iterate, because when I get Portland, I'm going to get the full URL. When I then get to Seattle, I'll get the full URL. When I get to Houston, I'll get the full URL, okay. So now for the first one, Portland, you get the full URL and you do a request.get full URL, and that is going to be in this R, and then you do r.json to get your data in JSON format, right? Basically in dictionary, and then we can then start extracting everything that we need. And remember that I showed you guys right here how it looks. This is how the data is going to look, and then we can start extracting whatever you need. You can start extracting whatever you need from this, okay. So in this case, I'm extracting the city name, so I say data name, okay, because my key is going to be name, and then weather description, I'm getting it this way, and then the temperature, I want to get it in Fahrenheit, okay. I want to get it in Fahrenheit because right now the temperature is in Kelvin. You can see 289, that's in Kelvin, okay. So I want to get it in Fahrenheit, and what do I need to do? I just need to create another function that does that conversion for me. So that's pretty easy, guys. That's pretty easy, okay. You can, this is not a Python course, so I expect you that you are watching this, that you understand Python already, okay. So this is a function that converts the temperature in Kelvin to Fahrenheit. So that is what I am doing right here. And then here I'm getting the pressure, humidity, and wind speed, okay. And also from here, what I'm doing is I'm converting the time to my local times. That's why I'm using this time zone, okay. I'm using this time zone. You can see that the time that we have right here is Unix time. You can see that is Unix time, right? But now we are converting it to our own timestamp, and then also to the local time of that city. That is why we are using this time zone. Take note of this time zone right here for Seattle. This is negative 25,200. If I change this place, if I change this city right here to Houston, if I change it to Houston, before I click enter, you'll realize that this time zone is going to change. Right now it's negative 25,200. Okay, let me click enter. You can see right now this is negative 18,000. It's different. You can see the name of the city is Houston. Okay, so what we are doing right here is that we are converting that time from Unix to our timestamp, and then also we are using the time zone to convert to the local time of that city. Okay, now after we get all those, after we extracted for that city, Portland, then you can put it in a variable transformed in a dictionary right here. Okay, all those variables that we got right here, put them right as a key value pair. Okay, and then you can then put it as a data frame. Okay, convert it to data frame. So when you convert it to a data frame, then we can concat it or append it to this empty data frame. That is what we are doing right here, and we are ignoring index. Okay, so this is going to happen for Portland, for Seattle, Houston, for each of these cities that we have right here. It's going to be appending. Okay, and then after we finish with the loop, we come outside of the loop. Okay, and then we have what is the date time right now. Then we format the date time. You can see it's going to be day, month, year, hour, minute, second. We are going to do that, and the reason I'm doing this is I want to create a file name for our file that has the date time at which we run this script. Okay, so now what we are doing right here is this is dt_string. Now we are saying current weather data plus the time that we got our string from here. Okay, so now we are going to create our we are going to save our combined data frame as CSV inside this our home directory right here. So that is why we have this. You can see that this dt_string is going to be this name is going to have this file name, current weather data, then this this timing, okay, this string, this time string, this datetime string that we are going to have right there. I hope you get that right now, guys. I can put underscore also right here. Let me put underscore there. Okay, so now what do you think we are going to be doing now? So this is going to be saving whenever we run it inside this place. However, I also want to return that file, and that's why I put return output file, because I called this output file. That means I give it this directory, home ubuntu, and then the file name .csv. So because this returning of this file is going to be useful in our next task, I'm going to be showing you that so that you can see it. Okay, now I hope you guys understand this right now, and then I can save. Make sure you remember to save. One thing that we also need right here is we have this request right here, request. So we need to import requests. So we'll import requests, okay, and then we would save this, and then let us go to our UI, Airflow UI, and see if we can get the DAG. Let us refresh. Very good, guys. You can see that we have our DAG right here. If you don't have your DAG right here, don't worry, just wait for a few minutes. Usually it takes about 2 to 5 minutes for you to see your DAG here from the time that you just created that DAG. Okay, very good, guys. Let us click that and see what we have. Come to this graph view, click graph. Very good, guys. You can see now we have our task right here. Okay, task extract transform weather data. You can see that. What is the name of our DAG? Weather DAG. That is our DAG ID. If you remember the DAG ID that we gave it right here, DAG ID. Okay, and then this is our task that we want to do right now. Okay, which is going to be using a Python operator. Okay, so now we want to extract data from the weather map API and then do some transformation. And let us see if we can run something right here. Let us come back to our Visual Studio Code. You can see right here we don't have any CSV file, because our CSV file should be, the name should be current weather data, and then the string for the date time, okay, of when we ran it. Okay, we don't have anything right here. So let us test out our DAG, this task, if this task is working fine right now. So I will turn this on, and then I would trigger DAG. Let us trigger it. If we have any error, we'll go back and fix it. Okay, seems there is an error right there. Let us click that. Let us click that. What it says, name pandas, name PD is not defined. Okay, PD is not defined. Let us see. Did we forget to install it on, or what? Let us see what's going on. Let us see. Let us come to this. That is how you're also going to be getting errors. Okay. Oh, we are using pandas, but we did not import it. Import pandas as PD. Okay. You are going to be getting some errors in real life. Okay. Yeah, but that's fine. Just look for how to debug it. Okay. So now let us refresh this and come to graph, and let us try to rerun. If you want to check if your code has propagated here, you can click this code right here, click code, and then check. You can see it has not propagated through right here. There is an error. Let us see what the error is. No module named pandas. It say import pandas PD. It say no module named pandas. Okay, let us refresh again. Maybe it has not propagated through, or maybe we need to install it. Maybe we need to install it. Let us just refresh a few I think let's try to install it. Maybe that is the problem. Okay, let us come back. Let us come back right here to our EC2. Okay, and let us click connect. Say connect right here. Okay, and let us ensure we are in our virtual environment. So I will activate my virtual environment. I'll click paste. Activate is activated. Before that, let me go back to this airflow again, just to refresh again, just to make sure that okay, no module named pandas. I hope I spelled it well. Pandas. Okay, let us install again. I am not killing this my airflow, but I can kill it if necessary and restart it. But let us install pandas again. Let's see, maybe we forgot to install it previously. Let us install. What does it say? It says requirement already satisfied, so that means we installed it, right? Okay, maybe what we can do is let us kill the server and then start again. Control-C will help us to kill the server. I will kill that and then I will start again. Airflow standalone. Let us see what happens. Okay, that is ready. Let us refresh. Let me close this and come back right here. Check this, do this, paste this, 8080, enter. We are still getting the error. No module named pandas. So it's still saying no module named pandas. I thought we already installed pandas and we said import pandas as PD. Oh, did I not save? No, I don't think so. I think we did save. What I can also just do is let me come right here and get into my, let me activate this. And let me just do pip install pandas. So I'm doing pip install pandas right here instead of sudo pip install pandas. Let's see if this is going to work for us. Okay, now we have that. So let's come back right here if this is going to work. Still say no module named pandas. Let's see, refresh. Oh, it worked now. So now it's propagated through. Okay. So at the end of the day, it seems like it was taking its sweet time to propagate through. Okay. So it's working now. So basically, we did a sudo pip install pandas and also a pip install pandas. So basically, it worked. You know, it seems like the update that we made when we installed the pandas seems like it was taking its sweet time to propagate through to the airflow scheduler. Okay, so now let us click this, come to our graph. You can see that it even already ran. Okay, so let's go to our Visual Studio Code. It ran because we had already set this to be on. So if you go to our Visual Studio Code, you see that it ran twice already. Because it was doing a retry. Okay, so if you really want to do it, if we want to do it again, we can just come here and say trigger DAG, and then we should see it run. Now it's running. you can see it's successful. Now, how do we know it's successful? Because if you look at the legend for success is this, okay? If it is running, this is the legend, okay? Now, if we come to our Visual Studio Code, you can see we have 3 files right here, okay? You can see this is how the file is going to be, a CSV, okay? So we can, if you want, we can delete this, okay? We can delete this. I can say delete permanently. I can say delete permanently. I can then say delete permanently. Okay, now very good. We already got that. Pretty much. Awesome, guys. Awesome, guys. Now, the next thing we are then going to be doing is what we are going to be doing now is to create the next task. Okay, and what is going to be the next task? The next task is for us to move that file, the file that we created, into an Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, so now we want to create our S3 bucket. So let us come right here and let us create our S3. So you can type S3 right here and that is and then it's going to go to S3. Or if you want, in my case, I have my S3 here. I can say open in a new tab, or in your case also you can come here and say open in a new tab. Okay, and now I need to create a bucket. I'll say create bucket. So your bucket name needs to be unique. Take note of that. This is my bucket name that I'm giving, and then select your region. This is the region I am selecting, and then I will do create bucket. Okay, so now you can see that I have my bucket right here. Okay, now very good, guys. Now the next thing I would like to then do is now creating that task that will move that data to our S3 bucket. Now that we have already created our S3 bucket. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to be using a bash operator right here. Okay, so I will copy and paste the task. No, I'll copy and paste the task right here. Okay, sorry, let me copy and paste it here. Okay, now it's a bash operator. Okay, I give it a task ID. I'll call it task load to S3. Okay, now because it's a bash operator, we also need to install, and we also need to import the bash operator. Okay, so now we are importing that from airflow.operators.bash operator, import bash operator. Okay, so now we have that, and your bash operator is basically whenever you want to execute shell commands. Okay, then you use bash operator. So in this case, I want to execute a shell command, you know, to load the file that we generate into an S3 bucket. Okay, so that's why we are going to be using these shell commands. Okay, and in that case, we are going to be using bash operator. And for us to do that, we need to also create AWS CLI, because we are going to be using AWS commands right here. Okay, and for us to do that, let us do a pip install AWS CLI. Okay, so we'll come right here. Remember, you need to be in this virtual environment. Okay, I would paste it, pip install -- upgrade AWS CLI. I will do enter, and that is going to run. You can see that is running right now. Okay, very good. That has complete installation. Okay, now what are we doing here? We are saying AWS, then S3, that means that's the service. Then we are saying MV, that's move. We want to move the file or the data that we got from this previous task. Remember, this task is this task right here, this extraction and transform task. Okay, and we want to use this XCOM pool. Remember, I've shown you this in my previous video. So TI is task instance. So task instance dot XCOM pool. So we want to pull the data that was returned by this task. Okay, and also if you remember that this particular task, what data was it returned? It returned this output file, and this output file is this CSV. Remember that we saved this CSV inside this folder. Aside from that, we said let us return it. So we are returning this file right here. Okay, so this file, okay, because we are returning it, that is going to be in our XCOM. Okay, now we want to pull that, so that's why we say task instance.xcom pull. Okay, and you need to put this into a double brace bracket, and that's the Ginger templating. Airflow is using the Ginger templating for this. Okay, so you need to put that inside here, and also you then need to put the URL of your S3 bucket. Remember, we just created our S3 bucket, so just say S3:// then the name of your S3 bucket. Do you understand that right now? So now we have installed our AWS. However, one problem that we might still be having, let me save this. One problem that we might still be having is that we need to create a role for our EC2 to be able to communicate or to be able to interact with our S3 bucket. Okay, now what do we need to do? Let us come back right here to our Amazon UI. Okay, and then let us come right here to IAM. So you can just type in IAM. Okay, and then you can open in a new tab. So if I open in a new tab, I'm going to create a role. Let me create this role. I'll say come to roles. I'll create this. You have to click create role first. AWS service, and then what are you interested in right here? EC2, because we want to give EC2 access to our S3 bucket. Okay, so we'll do EC2, and then we will do next. Okay, so if you say next, then now what access do you want to give your EC2? We want to give it S3 access, so you do type in X3 and press enter. Okay, and then you will come right here and say Amazon S3 full access. Okay, I want to give it full access. I will check this, and then I will do next. You can see that, guys, and then I'll give my role a name. Okay, so what that means is that we are creating a role that has full access, that gives a role that gives EC2 full access to Amazon S3 bucket, to our Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, so you can see it says allows EC2 instance to call AWS services on your behalf, but in this case it is S3 that we are giving access, okay, to Amazon S3 full Amazon S3 bucket. Then I'll come and I'll say create role. Okay, so now you can see that we have created the role. However, we need to give that role to our EC2 that we are considering, right? So what is the EC2 that we are talking about right here? I can refresh this, and then I can say check this, right? Check that EC2 instance that is what I want to give access. Then come to actions, come to security, then come to modify IAM role. Okay, now if you don't have an IAM role yet, then you can create one, but remember that we just created one, right? So that means that just come right here and look for that one we just created. Remember, this is the one that we just created, okay, because we want to give EC2 access to our S3. Then I will say update IAM role. Very good. So now we have given this particular EC2 access to our S3 bucket, okay, to our X3. Okay, so now we can come right here and say that we have saved this. Now let us go to our Airflow UI and see if we have something right there. If we have our task. Very good. You can see we have our task right here. But now we have not shown the dependency, right? Let's come back to our Visual Studio Code and take this variable name right here, and then just come down here, have that, and then put 2 greater than sign, and then have your load to S3. What does this mean? This means that this is going to run before this. That means after this runs, then run this. Okay, and then don't forget to save. I'm going to save that. Remember that your bash operator, we have imported it right here, and also your bash operator uses shell commands, right? And what is this shell commands doing is interacting with AWS. It's using the AWS CLI, and we have installed that. And Airflow also is using Ginger templating. That is why we have this. So we are pulling the data that was returned by this task using the task instance.scom_pool. Okay, very good, guys. This is saved. Let us come right here and refresh. Very good. You can see right here, guys. Now let us see if we can run this successfully. Take note, there is nothing here right now. Okay, now let us trigger this DAG. Let's see if we can create something inside here. Let's see if we can create something inside here. But remember that this is move that we are doing, right? So that means that when it's generated here, then it's going to move it also away from here to our S3 bucket. So that means that we should not be seeing any file here if there is a successful DAG run. If this runs successfully, we should not see any file in our EC2, because immediately it's generated on EC2, it should be picked up and loaded to our Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, let us try that out, guys. I will trigger that. Let's see what we get. Okay, this is running. Very good. This is successful. Now this is in queue. It is running. Very good. This says it is successful. Awesome, guys. If you're able to get this, congratulations. Let us go to our Visual Studio Code. First of all, you can see we don't have any CSV file right here. That means that it has been moved using this bash command, right? Okay, now let us go to our S3 bucket and see if we get anything right there. This is my S3. So what I will do is, this is the S3 bucket. I will click this. You can see right here, guys, that we have our file right here. Okay, you can see that, guys. Let us try it again. Let me refresh this. If I refresh, you see it's only one file we have right here. Let us try another one. You can see what is the time right here, 9:54. Okay, July 24th, 9:54. Let us rerun this just for us to validate what we are talking about right here. If we rerun it, we should be seeing two files here now, right? So let us do a quick trigger DAG. Okay, this is running. It's completed. Now this is in queue. This is running. Completed. Very good, guys. Let us go to our S3 and let us refresh. Very good, guys. You can see now we have two CSVs. Okay, you can see this one was 9:54, this one is 9:55. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Now that we got this, interesting. Now the next thing is the Slack notification. We want to message our teammates, right, that this loading has been done and it is successful. Okay, now how do we do that? That is the next thing. Okay, and what we are going to first of all do, if you don't have an account, if you don't have a Slack account, I encourage you to go and create a Slack account. Okay, and Slack is pretty much a messaging system where you can collaborate with your teammates and all of that. Okay, so if you don't have an account, you need to just go to slack.com and then sign up an account. You can sign up with Google, sign up with email, just sign up. Okay, now then, but in my case, I have signed up already. Okay, like I said before, you can do this, you need to sign up, and then after you have signed up, then you need to follow up with what I'm going to be doing right here, right now. Okay, now after you have signed up, you can then come here and do you can then come right to your browser again and then you can go back to slack.com. That after you have signed in, okay, you can see I just showed you right there. You need to sign up with some sort of email that you have, okay. But in my case, because I already signed up for that, then if I come to slack.com, you can see what I am seeing right here. In my own case, it's asking me to create a new workspace, because what we are trying to do right here is for us to connect to Slack, we need to do some configurations and create a workspace, okay. But before you can create a workspace, you need to have an account. So the first thing is have an account, create your account. After you have created your account, then come right here to create a new workspace, okay. So in my case now, I will say create a new workspace, okay. And then it says we suggest using the email address you use at work. Basically, just put the email address you want to use, okay. So in my case, I will just type in troublespectra@gmail.com, okay. Now if I have that, then what do I need to do? I will just say continue, okay. And then this is going to send some code to my email. So I will go to my email right here. I will go to my email, and then I'll look for the code. I'll look for the code. Let's see. New workspace. Okay, this is the code right here. You can see 0 minutes ago. So I'll get that. And then I will put it right here, copy and paste it right there. You see, now it gave me this, and then I will say create a workspace. I'll do create a workspace. Okay, now he's asking me what's the name of your company or team. In my own case, I want to give the name of my team. I'll say DE_airflow_team. That's data engineer airflow team. Then I will say next. You can see that it's creating something here for me immediately, right? DE airflow team. That's the name of my company or my team. Then say what's your name, okay. You can add in your name and profile. Yeah, you can just give it that name, okay. And then who else is on the team? Okay, in this case I can just say skip this step, okay. What's your team working on right now? This could be anything, a project, campaign, or the deal you are trying to close, okay. In our own case, we are working on weather data, so you can just put weather data, okay. You can see that immediately I typed in that, it generated something for me right here. So that means that is my channel, okay. That is the channel where you are going to be getting those information, right? So you have weather data. I call it weather data. I will say next. You can see right here, guys, that now it has created a workspace for me, DE airflow team, okay. And it created a channel, the channel that I'm talking about, weather data. So that means that I can also add more folks right here that will be receiving information whenever we run our DAG, okay. So but take note, this general, this random, this one came as a default when we finish this configuration setup, okay. So now we have this weather data. I hope you guys understand this right now, okay. Now that we have this channel right now, the next thing is then for us to create a Slack app. We need to create a Slack app, okay. How do we create a Slack app? Just come in right here and then go to apache-airflow-providers-slack.com/apps, and then just click enter. Now you see it says your apps. Use our APIs to build an app that makes people's working lives better. You can create an app that just for your workspace, you know. So we are going to create an app because this is what we are also going to be using at the end of the day to be sending that notification to this place. Remember what we just did right here was to create a channel, okay. Now we need an app that will be helping us to send that notification to this channel. Okay, so I will say create an app. Okay, so if I say create an app, I'm creating it from scratch. Use our configuration UI to manually add basic info, scopes, settings, and features to your app. So from scratch, I'll come right here. Now, what is the app name? Okay, I want to give this app name. You can give it any name you like. Okay, so in my case, I want to give it this name, weather API underscore app underscore service. Okay, now it says don't worry, you'll be able to change this later. Okay, now let's say you don't have a fantastic name you want to use right now, but just put something and then you can go back and change later. Okay, now I say pick a workspace to develop your app in. Now, what is the workspace? So I will click this drop down. Remember that we just created this workspace, DE Airflow theme. Okay, so I will come in right here, DE Airflow theme. By the way, I have two DE Airflow theme right here, and that's because I've used this before to test things out. Okay, but in your case, you should just see one of it, right? So I will do DE Airflow theme. I will do create app. Okay, now that I've said create app, very good. Then the next thing I am going to do is I will do incoming, click incoming webhooks. Okay, it says we need to activate the incoming webhooks. Incoming webhooks are a simple way to post messages from external sources into Slack. You can see that they make use of normal HTTP request with a JSON payload. Okay, now what we are going to do here now is to turn on our incoming webhooks. Okay, because if you come back to this previous, you see everything that we have right here. Okay, you see everything that we have right here. So if you come to incoming webhooks, let's turn it on. So when you turn it on, okay, this is what you are going to be getting. Okay, now when you then come right here, you then say add new webhook to workspace. I'll say add new webhook to workspace. I'll click this, and then now it's asking me whether API service requires a channel to post to as an app. Okay, you see that? So now this is asking me which channel. I need to give it access to a particular channel. Remember that we have created weather data channel. Remember, this channel is inside this DE Airflow theme. Okay, so I will then say, okay, well, this is where I want you to be sending, to be posting things. Okay, I'll say weather data, then I will ask it to allow. Very good, guys. Now we have done that process. Okay, that steps, that is very good. Now let us come here and create our task. Okay, remember that we have not created task. Okay, so I will do a copy and paste for the Slack channel, and then I will come here. That's going to be our third task. Remember, make sure you check your indentation, make sure everything is working well. Then we need a Slack webhook operator. Slack webhook operator, which we need to import. Remember that when we are installing dependencies, we installed the provider for Slack. Remember, so that gives us access to Slack operators. So now we can import this. Okay, when we import there, that is what we want to use here, the operator. I'll give it a task ID. Then I need an HTTP connection ID. I give it Slack con ID. We are going to be going to the Airflow UI shortly to create that connection. Okay, now what is the message you want to send? You could decide you could just put anything. So I can put a string. I can say this is just a test. Please do nothing. You can say this is just a text. This is just a test. Please do nothing. You can also decide to put a function right here. You can define a function somewhere up here, okay? And whatever you want your function to do, maybe you want your function to be returning this text, then you can do that. Okay, let's say you have 3 lines or 4 lines or 5 lines of text, you want it to be returning, you can do that. So but in this case I'm putting a string, but like I said, you can also put a function. Take for example, you could call a function right here. Okay, you could say, okay, maybe your function is, you can say something like message this. So in this case you are calling your function, or maybe you are saying message us, or message, you can say message the team. Just take for example message the team, and then you have to call that function right there. Okay, this is how you're going to have it. Okay, but in our own case, I want to just put a string. I'm going to do a Control V. Okay, now we are back right there. Okay, now the next thing is, let us put our Slack as part of the workflow. I will have that, and then I will save. Very good. And then what I will do right now is I will go right to our Airflow UI. Let's go to our Airflow UI right here, and let's go to admin and create our connections for Slack. I'll click this plus sign, and then my connection ID is this. Where did I get that from? From this HTTP con ID. This is the name of the connection ID. Okay, we have to create that so that we can make connections, and then we'll come right here, and then we'll do HTTP. Okay, and then we'll need a password, and take note, our password will then be this webhook URL, this one right here, because this is what will help us to be able to make that connection. So click this to copy. Okay, and then I will come right to the UI. That's going to be my password. Okay, you don't need host schema and all of that. Okay, so we are going to have that. Okay, and then I will do save. Okay, and then I will come right to my, I can say come to DAGs. This is my DAG. Okay, I don't want it to run immediately, so I will I turn it off, then click this. Let's just make sure first of all that our graph view, everything looks okay. Okay, very good, everything looks okay right here. So now what we are going to be doing also is, if you go back to our S3, let us refresh this. You see we have we have 2 files right here. So that means if we run this now and it's successful, we should be able to have 3 files. Okay, so what that means is that if this runs, it's going to extract data from our weather map API and then transform it, and then move that data from our EC2 directly to our S3. Then if there is no error, there will be a Slack notification sent to our channel right here, to our weather channel. That is where we are going to have every member of our team, our data engineering team. Okay, very good, guys. Now let us trigger our DAG. Trigger DAG. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't run, then we'll try to debug. Okay, this has run successfully. Let's see this. Okay, that has run. This is running right now. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Very good. You see, this says run successfully because our success color is this, right? And this is it. Very good, guys. So very good, very good, very good. You can see that this has run successfully. Okay, if you are seeing this, congratulations. If you are not seeing this, then you can try to do some debugging, or you can ask questions in the comment section below so that we can take a look at, or maybe some other folks can help you even to give you some of ideas of how you can debug. Okay, you can see this has run successfully. Let us go to our Slack channel and see. You can see this is just a test. Please do nothing. You can see that we have been able to run this successfully. Let us rerun it again. Let us see. You can see time here is 10:12 a.m. Okay, let us rerun it again. Let us see what happens. By the way, let us also quickly go to our S3 bucket. If you refresh this, You can see we have third CSV. Okay, now let us run it again. Let us see if we are going to have the fourth CSV and if we are going to have a second email, a second message right here in our Slack. Okay, so I'll come right here and I'll say trigger DAG. Let's see, this is running right now, guys. It has finished running. This is running right now. Very good, that has finished running. This also has finished running. Interesting, guys. Interesting, guys. Let us go to our Slack. You can see right here, guys. This is at 10:15. 10:15. This is just a test. Please do nothing. If you also go to your S3, let us refresh. You can see we have the fourth one, 10:15, right? 10:15. That is when we also got this Slack message. Very good, guys. I hope you guys now understand this right here. Now you know how you can extract current weather data for multiple cities, transform it, put it in a data frame, and then move that from your EC2 to your Amazon S3 bucket. Thereafter, you then send out a Slack notification to your team that this has been successfully completed. Very good, guys. This is a very simple project, guys, and I hope you guys really understand this. In my previous video, I showed you how to do an email, to send out an email notification. Now I have showed you how to send out a Slack notification, and this is pretty much what most teams do in the real world, right? In the industry, they send out Slack notification or email notification. Hey guys, if you are finding these videos valuable, I highly encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Okay, as you know, the more you subscribe to our channel, the more we are motivated to create these videos for you. And also, please don't forget to comment in the comment section below. If you have any question, also ask. And if you are able to answer any of the questions that some of the other colleagues have asked, feel free to also jump in. Okay, and also do not forget to like our videos. As you know, the more you like our videos, the better the YouTube algorithm is going to rank us higher. Okay, and also do not forget to help us to share our videos. All right, also the code that we have used in this video, I am going to be putting them in my GitHub. Do not forget to go download or fork my repo, okay, for this video. And also the commands that we have used in this video, also I will be putting them in the description below. All right, guys, I will see you in the next class. Bye.